Welcome, golf fans, pursuers of knowledge and the almighty dollar. This is your golf guru bringing you the 2021 Valspar Championship. This is my Money Pick show. I appreciate you greatly for stopping by. I will get into some deep dive research into why I'm picking the guys that I'm picking. And hopefully, if you give me a few minutes, I can put a few more dollars in your pocket. And let's get into this right now. Okay, so first off, let's talk a little bit about my PGA Championship giveaway. Of course, that's coming up on May 20th at Kiowa, South Carolina, the Ocean Course, and it is for the Millie Maker. So what I'm going to be doing is randomly picking 10 people that provide me with a comment in the YouTube comments of who they think is going to win the PGA Championship. And all you need to do is like this video, subscribe if you've not already subscribed. If you are a subscriber, just tell me who you think wins, and you're in. Now, if I get to 500 subscribers before I actually spin the magical wheel, I'm going to double it, and I'm going to pick 20 winners. So make sure that you get in your picks and subscribe now and like this, and you could have a chance for me to cover your entry fee to be possibly a millionaire. Not a bad deal. Okay, here we go. If you missed my preview show, I always go into a skill set ranking on how you win at the course we are talking about. Of course, that is Copperhead. And in short, you got to be really good on approach. We need elite ball strikers. Putting, larger complexes, a lot more slope, difficult greens. You got to be really good around these greens. They are firm and fast. And also, there's a ton of sand around the greens and in the fairways, so you got to be good out of that. One thing here, it's a lot like RBC at Harbour Town. You don't have to hit the ball super long, but you need to hit it accurate. And so if you just hit the tour average of 280, you're going to be good here because you can kind of place the ball where you need to for your approaches, a lot like at RBC Heritage. The proximity of the pin that is in my model that I will be looking at that shows up quite a bit is the 175 to 200 yard shot. Of course, you got to be good at scrambling here. A lot of trees, some things you're going to have to get around the track. And then, as I mentioned, 3-putt avoidance. There is 7 par 4s that are 400 to 450. So I put that into the model because we're going to need guys that do well on that typically. And then last but not least, there's 3 par 5s. It is a par 71. And as usual, you're going to have to make your hay on those. This is a very difficult course to score on. And if you saw the preview show, you would know that. Okay. Also in the preview show, I did show you the model that I ran and what I'm going to be using for a lot of my research. And this was just looking at recent form, but heavily weighted on approach around the green, putting, good drives, and ball striking, and a few other things that I already mentioned in there. And the guys that got mentioned or brought up in that model, no shocker, was Charlie Hoffman, who's been playing really well, Chris Kirk, Corey Connors, guys that we know that hit and strike the ball very well. And then to take it to a step further, I wanted to just focus on the best ball strikers out of that class. And you get the top 20 here, starting out with Corey Connors, Emiliano Grillo, Victor Hovland. And again, this is only looking at the past 12 rounds. All the research analysis I believe that is effective is to look at within the last 3 tournaments. If you start to pull data typically further than that, in my own beliefs, you're going to be getting skewed data. You're going to be getting guys that have not done that well over the body of work that I'm looking at. And then last but not least, I do always look at comp courses. I do believe there is value in that, as in course fit. And when I put on some filters like firm greens, firm, fast greens, hard to hit fairways, of course, Bermuda, the distance, all that kind of put into combine. Some of the courses that come up as good comp courses, which I agree with, is Bay Hill, where they play the API. You got CCF Jackson, where they play Sanderson Farms. The Tour Championship pops up, which quite a few of these guys probably would not get to play at. So I'm going to look at some other courses, but just so you know, East Lake. And then you got the TPC courses to the right, TPC Sawgrass. You got Southwind, and you got Scottsdale, all where they play the Players, the WGC, FedEx St. Jude, and the Waste Management, which we saw not too long ago. Last but not least, there was another course in my mind that I think is a great course fit and kind of proved when I started to do a little more analysis. And again, that is Harbour Town, which I've mentioned. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to put these guys side to side. So I pulled the last 4 rounds at Harbour Town that we just saw recently, and then compared it to the guys who played Valspar for the last 12 times, or at least 3 events, 12 rounds. And if we start to click through this, you'll start to see some very similarities. You got Griot that pops up. You got Corey Connors that pops up on both sides. Chris Kirk. You got Russ Henley. You got Sunjay M, Denny McCarthy, and last but not least, you got Abraham Ancer. Now, of course, these guys both had to play in both events, but when they did, a lot of these guys finished in the upper, top 20. And so just thought that was interesting, and I will be using it for my own personal knowledge and passing it along to you guys. That's something you might want to reference. Okay, let's go jump into the analysis, and then what I'll do after that is summarize my top 15 picks for you. Okay, so jumping into Fantasy National, this is where I do a lot of my research. It's not the only place, but quite a bit of it, and it's the easiest way to show you guys visually what's going on. And just so you know, I am looking again, last 12 rounds. I have turned on some filters, Bermuda, difficult to hit fairways, and that might be it, because the more filters you turn on, the less information you can pull from. And so I kind of slimmed it to that, but it is looking at those courses and looking at the things that I want. Of course, here you got the player's name, their salary, projected ownership. I'm recording this Monday afternoon, so you're not going to see a good projected ownership. I do that on Wednesdays before the lock. Make sure you guys have that information. But we are looking heavily at the ball striking, as already stated. And this is a good visual way to see what's going on, where the dips. Of course, you had Justin Thomas, who kind of went through some personal things, we'll put it that way, but has been making a resurgent. And then on this side, I got 5 key stroke gain categories that I want to look at. Number 1 being approach, around the green, good drives, putting. This isn't in order of like 1 through 5, but it's the 5 main things that I want to pull up. And then, of course, over here, you got tournament history or recent results that also, I think kind of weigh in for my own personal information that I like to look at. And so right off the bat, I'm going to be fading the top 3 guys. And I'll just talk a little bit why. The ones that probably the hardest was Justin Thomas. And this is not a really good valid point, but the guy who's always the most expensive, I typically do fade, and it typically works out. But also, if you look at his tournament history, he's been kind of trending in the wrong way. Now, he hasn't played here in a couple of years, but, everything's saying with that kind of price tag, I think I'm kind of in favor of some guys that I'm almost more heavy on the 9,000, 10,000 guys. And so you'll see, like I said, the top 2, 11,000 guys I'm fading. Dustin Johnson's had a good, has done well here. As you see, he had a T6 previously, but also had some miscuts. Of course, those were a while ago. But if you see over his last 12 rounds, just a lot of red. He's been struggling a bit off the tee. His approach is not where he used to be. The putter is not where he used to be. He had, let me think here, at RBC, he had a good Sunday. Actually kind of affected some of my payout, but that was really the last, he had a couple good rounds at RBC. That was kind of the first show of life since his win at the Masters. So, maybe he's back on the right track. But for right now, at that price tag, I'm going to go ahead and fade DJ at this moment. And then actually I had Victor Hovland selected. But then when I started to go look at comparable courses, also, I'm not going to lie, getting to see a little bit of how he played at the Zurich didn't help. I think he's just played a lot of golf lately. I mean, I'd be shocked if he's not getting a little burned out. Trying to see here. He did play at RBC, but, he's played the Masters, the Players, the API. He just played the Zurich. And, his putting actually started to come around a little bit. But like I said, I was back and forth, to be honest, on Victor Hovland. I think his tee to green game applies here, but a little worried about the putting and the chipping right now. So I'm going to go ahead and pass. Instead, I went with Patrick Reed for $200 less, who actually ticks all the boxes. So he's been doing well. Of course, ball striking. His approach has been a little off, but around the green is elite. His putting is elite. He also has a great course history here. Now, yes, he missed the cut in 2019, but he's at a second, a seventh, a second. So, I mean, the guy can play here. And just, the course fits him well. If I jump in and we go take a look at Patrick Reed a little further, funny enough, Bermuda is not his best putting surface, but I'm not too worried about that. We go look at some of the comp courses. So Arnold Palmer, he missed the cut recently, but other than that, he's done pretty well there, which I think is a good comp course. As I mentioned, Bay Hill. The RBC missed cut in 2020, but, so 2 for 4. About the Honda. So as you see, I did not look at this information I'm kind of going it through with you guys. But again, nothing's going to get me off read, even looking at this comparable stuff. He's at a 7th there. They do at the Players. He had a 22nd, a 47th. So he's done well at the Players. I think it's a good comp course. Look at the St. Jude. Best was a 5th, but he had a 47th recently. Did he play Waste Management? He hasn't played Waste Management since 2018, but still a pretty good track record there. And then what did he do at the Tour Championship? At East Lake last year, he had an 8th, and that's out of like 40 guys. So still pretty good. But really, to be honest, it was between Victor Hovland and Patrick Reed. And this is a little bit, I'm going to say a little bit of gut feeling that I'd rather go with Patrick Reed in that instance. Of course, Paul Casey, I mean, he's probably going to be super chalk, but how do you fade this guy? He's been playing elite, in good form over his last events, and we can see that here. I mean, you could go with, I guess, maybe a little bit the RBC Heritage he had to cut, but other than that, he's been playing really well, and the guy, back-to-back wins at this tournament. I don't really think I need to go through and sell you anymore on Paul Casey. Corey Connors, one of the first guys I thought of when I think of this tournament. Again, like the RBC. He's been elite. You can see, kind of blowing away the field on ball striking comparative to the rest. And his recent results, of course, he had a T4 at the course I'm just looking at. The Players, Arnold, I mean, I think he's coming out at 18-1 for betting odds. He's played here once at a T16. If you want to see, I'll go ahead and run some of his comparable courses so you can just see. But if we look at the Arnold Palmer, which I just showed you at a 30, had 2 miscuts before that, but I mean, his game is at a form right now that's, super elite, and also he's gaining with the putter. That's really why it excites me, and it's been on Bermuda's where he's been gaining. Again, the RBC, gained 2 strokes putting, and he already does everything else really well. So he's one of those guys where if his putter is hot, and just not even hot, if it's just level where he's not losing strokes, the guy can win any tournament he plays in as far as I'm concerned. The Honda wasn't as good. Let's see what he did at the Players. Of course, he had a 7th again, gained on the putting greens. St. Jude, he had a 30th. That was a little while back, this past summer. The Waste Management recently had a 17th. And then how did he do at the Tour Championship? I guess he didn't make it to the Tour Championship recently, but in 2019, he had a 26, which is not great. That's less than half. So, but not concerned with that. Everything else tells me play Corey Connors. This is probably the one where I'm not using a whole lot of the model and research analysis. I'm going off past history, a little bit of what I just saw at the Zurich. And I already kind of mentioned the narrative that I just feel like it's, I'm on a guy the week before and he doesn't pull it out, which, they lost in a playoff, him and Charles Schwartzel. I think his game is in good form for this course. And I like Louis Oosthuizen to actually win this event. I've already bet him outright. I think he was 35-1 on DraftKings for betting, off the top of my head. So I am playing Louis. If we go look, at recent form, he's been playing well. My course I just mentioned, the Waste Management at T11. Of course, had a very tough Augusta. He had a T26. Let's go just take a gander at some of the comp courses that I've already mentioned. So he is positive on Bermuda. Poa is his favorite. If we go ahead and look at the RBC, he had a miscut recently. So like I said, that might get people off. Arnold Palmer, he had a miscut, but that was back in 2019, but also had a 9th in 2015. What about the Honda miscut in 2020, but had a 24th and a 21st before that. The Players, he had a 2nd back in 2017 and a 41st recently. St. Jude, he had a 6 back in August. And then the Waste Management, a 3rd and an 11th, but he's played there twice. And then the Tour Championship, didn't play there in 2020, but at East Lake, he's had a 21st and a 23rd. So, again, Louis has not won on U.S. soil, and I think this is his tournament. And so he is even, as you saw, with the Terminator glasses is on the opening kind of intro to my video. So that's, I'm really going out there, but that's who I like. Hatton I was looking at, he ticks a lot of boxes. The putter has been a little, as you see, south. Again, I think he's played a bit of golf. You know, this could be one where when I play Hatton, he has a couple bad holes and loses his shit, and then his game just goes sideways. And then if I don't play Hatton, then, you know, he does well. So you could really flip a coin either way. You know, he could go either way, but I had to make a decision. I'm actually going with Answer. Also a guy who's not won his first tournament yet. Could be a place. I mean, it's a tough track, but he plays tough tracks well. You can see really good recent form. He's played here once. He's had a 16th. His ball striking is where I want it. Everything is solid. The putter and around the green is always the story with Answer. You know, a bit like Corey Connors, if he goes out and gains strokes with a putter, he could be very live here. If we go do a little more deep dive, of course, Bermuda is not his best surface, but that's very minuscule when it gets into try to, you know, gauge losing strokes. Of course, you can see here at the RBC, you know, everything was good except the putter lost a stroke and a half. Again, if he could literally just break even, gain a stroke with a putter, he could definitely be very live here. We look at Arnold Palmer. He had a 56 back in March of 20, so it wasn't the recent one. RBC, we already looked at, a second and an 18th. The Honda missed cut, but that's 2018. What did he do with the Players? He had a 22nd at the Players and a 12th before. St. Jude in August, he had a 15th. Waste Management, only played it once, miscut. And the Tour Championship back this past September had an 18th and a 21st, so not bad. I like Answer. I think his game fits here. You know, you can see projected ownership's already pretty high, so I'm not the only one that's looking for him to do well here. Sungjae Im, this was a toss-up. You know, the T4 helped here previously. His showing at the RBC also helped. His ball striking is on the way up, but he was off with the irons for a bit there. Of course, he had a disaster at the Masters. I don't know if he shot the worst score there, but it was bad. But those numbers are not plugged into this. I literally have the stroke gain analysis for that. I think I shared it with you guys, hopefully. I think it was around the RBC. I went to look at it again, and he wasn't even listed. Like, I only pulled, like, the top 20, 25 guys, and he was not on the list. So it was not good. It was the short of it. But, you know, when I kind of dive into Sungjae Im, you know, right here, you know, best surface, almost gains a half stroke on the field when he putts on Bermuda typically. You can see that represented over here. Of course, you know, quite a few of these courses here are all Bermuda. The Florida swing. And if we pull up the RBC at a 13th recently, if we look at the Arnold Palmer, he had a 21st, but also, of course, had a couple third place. If I look at the Honda, of course, he won in 2020 and had an 8th not too long ago here. Up the St. Jude, a 35th a little while back. How do you do at Waste Management? A 17th, 34th, and a 7th in his past. And at the Tour Championship, he missed, sorry, that was a Masters that just recently happened. He had an 11th, and again, that's out of like 40 guys. So not bad. You can say top 4th of out of that field. Joaquin Niemann, you know, it all comes down, which it shows really well. Around the green is where he could struggle, but strokes gain has been on the way up. He's been, you know, getting in the 20s in the last few tournaments. The Masters was tough, but hey, he made the cut. He's had a T37th here in the past. We can go take a while, jump in and look at some of the comparables a little further with Joaquin. Bermuda is not his best surface, but has been gaining with the putter. And both of these courses are Bermuda, so that's good to see. What about, he did not play the RBC recently, but he did play it in 2020, and he had a 5th place, so I like that. Arnold Palmer miscut back the previous year, but didn't play this year. What about the Honda? He had a 25th recently. I think I already looked at the Players, but we'll pull it one more time. He had a 29th at the Players recently, so that's good. What about St. Jude? 52nd again, that was past summer. They do at Waste Management, miscut, but that wasn't this year. That was a couple years ago. And did he make the Tour Championship? Made it last year and had a 27th at the Tour Championship. So again, I like Joaquin. I'll be playing him. And then, of course, Russ Henley, my Brokeback Mountain pick, where I wish I could just quit him. But every time, it's kind of like if I get off him, he starts to do well. And when I start to get on him, he starts to not do so well. But in short, you can see at the courses I'm looking at in the tournaments, of course, he had the miscut at the Players, but so did quite a few of the guys. But really good showing here at the Honda RBC. You can see the approach, 18th out of the field. Around the greens, a little suspicious, but typically the putter is actually what's been hurting him. Let's go pull that up, which is really rare because on Bermuda, so you can see kind of over his career, he gains on Bermuda pretty solidly, almost a half stroke. But if you see here at the RBC Heritage, he lost 3 strokes. But, at the Honda, which is Bermuda, went nuts and gained, almost 8 strokes. Let's see here. The Players game, but everything else was really bad. Anyways, if we go pull up, let's see about the Arnold. It's been a while, so I'm not going to really care about that information. He played the RBC, yeah. So he had a 9th recently. I just looked at that. The putter wasn't working as like we'd like to see for him. He's done real well at the Honda, 3rd and 8th. So that's good. The Players, I think I mentioned miscut. Doesn't do well at the Players. Best showing was 2014 at a 17th. It's kind of interesting because he's not bad off the tee either. He's typically pretty accurate with the driver. About St. Jude. That's a while ago, but a miscut in a 7th, so do what you like with that. And then he did not make the Tour Championship, but when he did play there, again, back in 2017, so it's a while ago, he had a 3rd. But I'm just going with Russ Henley is trending in the right direction. And he's played her 3 times. Had a T9 as his best, 1 cut in 2016 and a T42 in 2019. A couple of guys I'm skipping over is Watson and Justin Rose, which, Bubba actually has had a decent tournament history here. And he looked decent also at the Zurich. I mean, it's so hard to really pull anything from that. I guess there's a couple miscuts, but again, those are tough, the Players and the Genesis, tough tracks. Just, again, this is a little bit about just where I'm at with my mind. Of course, Justin Rose had that amazing Thursday at the Masters. Also looked pretty good at the Zurich. It wouldn't be a terrible play. The putter, this is, I don't know, it seems like a little misleading because of what I've been seeing out of the putter with him. Again, the Masters and the Zurich looked pretty good. He did not play the RBC, but I'm passing on him as in my top 15. Of course, Jason Kokrak, has had an elite tournament history here. He's playing, really well. I mean, the putter is the big thing that's really turned around for him. I think at the Zurich, he played all right. It was nothing spectacular, but you can see the ball striking just keeps gaining. Around the green was a little off, and then again this putting stat. A little curious about that. Let's go. We got to jump into him anyways. Because everything I'm thinking about is he's actually been doing well putting. So yeah, I mean it shows over his last 5 events, he's gained almost 3 strokes putting. So again, Bermuda 3 strokes at the Players. So I think that putting thing must be pulling for more than just 12 rounds. It's supposed to only be 12 rounds, but that can't be right. WGC Mexico, which was concession. That was in Florida. That was Bermuda. You got the Genesis, which is on POA, but gained 8 strokes there. But you could see, he had some little bit of struggles here. But again, I've mentioned multiple times, he lengthened his putter. I think it was an inch, and it just seemed that was it. Like it just helped him get a little more upright, a little more over the ball, and away he went. And of course, he at the CJ Cup where he gained 10 strokes. And I just want to verify that was bent at Shadow Creek. Okay, I wasn't sure. Anyways, while I'm there, let's go just look at some of the splits, or not splits, but some of the comparable courses while we're here. All right, Arnold Palmer, again, as I mentioned, really good showing there at Bay Hill 3 years running. The RBC had a miscut 2020, but he's also had some decent showings there. He's played there quite a bit. a 6th, an 18th, a 16th. Also sprinkle those some miscuts. I mean, that's a course, you know, if you're not firing all cylinders, you are going to struggle. It's the same with this course. It's not a course that you can spray it a little bit. We'll put it that way. Good showing at the Honda back in 2019, but also has some miscuts there. We do at the Players, of course, he had a 9th, a 47th, and a 46th. So we can manage way around there. What about the waste management? So miscut, but that was not this year. That was previous. And the Tour Championship made that in 2019. It had a 14th at Eastlake. Okay. But again, I mean, I think he's been a lead. And then Charlie Hoffman, again, the ball striking is just, you know, we're on a heater with Charlie. I don't know when it's going to end. It could be here. But, you know, I like everything I've been seeing. Again, I think he, who do you have? Nick Watney with him at the Zurich. So he carried that team the best he could. You know, Nick Watney, I've seen, you know, some of the, when they were doing best ball, you know, hit some nice shots. But, you know, I didn't see a ton of those guys. But if we go into Hoffman, well, let's see this tournament history. You know, it's kind of cut or top 20. So there you go. And that's a little bit like Charlie Hoffman. It kind of seems like either he's going to miss the cut or he's going to be relevant. We go pull up Arnold Palmer, a 10th, a 13th. That's all recent. He's had a 2nd there in 2017. So that's good. We look at RBC at an 18th recently. Played there quite a bit too. He's had a 6 and an 8. So, you know, that's so far back. But we're going to go off the 18th and what his recent form is. We look at the Honda. It's been so long ago, I'm not even going to mention it. The Players, he had a 17th recently, but also a couple of miscuts before that. But like I said, the recent form is what we are going with. St. Jude, that was in 2018. What about waste management? That's kind of interesting. Missed the cut at the waste management. I don't remember that, but you know, and that's crazy because here's a guy that you know, I mean, not that I see here, won at that course. But you know, a lot of top 20s and then just out of nowhere. So there you go, you know, have an off week and even a course that fits you perfect might end up going home early on the weekend. Okay. Same thing, Tringali, you know, you can see his ball striking, little dipping. You know, maybe this was a heyday right here. But solid recent form, of course, had to miscut the Players as a lot of the guys did. And if we go jump into Mr. Tringali's info a little further, Bermuda's positive, but his worst surface. What about the RBC? So he didn't play there recently. What about Arnold Palmer? Recently had a 31st and a 27th. The Honda had a 13th, which was good. The Players, we already know he missed a cut, and don't really need to go further with that. St. Jude, that was 2018, missed a cut. Waste Management, recently, he had a 17th. And I didn't think he made the Tour Champion. That was a long time ago. Okay. But I like Tringali, sticking with him. Emiliano Grillo, right, had a great showing at the RBC. Had a T2. I think I said my other show, maybe it was third, but he was one of the guys I was on. Morikawa is probably quite a few people just. Willsey and Morikawa falling away on the weekend just killed me in that, but neither here or there. As you see, good recent form. He's only played here once and he's missed a cut, but everything I'm seeing out of Grillo, as long as he can keep that putter, doesn't have to be as hot as it's been. As you see, typically over his career, Bermuda, I mean, the guy doesn't usually gain putting period, but Bermuda's kind of a second best, worst surface, you want to say. But this is what's interesting with Grillo is over his last 5 events, he's actually gaining putting strokes, which typically that's not the case. At the RBC, he gained almost 2 strokes. Gained almost a stroke at the Arnold Palmer. And waste management, I just want to confirm what is that's Bermuda green. So yeah, so you see par 71, Bermuda plays about the same from a course length. Hitting fairways difficult, green. So you see it's a pretty solid comp course. Let's just go while we're here and let's go see some of the comparables I've been talking about. So Arnold Palmer recently, 21st, he's had a 7th. He's done well at Bay Hill. That's good to know. RBC, we already know a 2nd. So 3 out of 4, done well. The Honda, a couple miscuts, but he had an 8th back in 2018. But again, I'm not going to really worry too much about that either way. Miscut the Players, as a lot of the guys did. But he's also done well, over his career at the Players. So call that what it may. The St. Jude, that's been quite a while. What did he do? Waste Management at 22nd recently. And the one time he made the Tour Championship, he had a 10th. And that was a while ago. But he did make it. Chris Kirk, same thing. Great recent form. Ticks all my boxes here. Tournament history is kind of I mean, he's made 2 out of the, 5. Played it 5 times, made the cut twice. That's the simplest way to put it. But you can see this. I like to see that kind of form. So out of the last 5 events he's played in, and out of the courses that I like for comparables and made the cut at the Players, he's had, better than a 10th place finish in 3 of the 5 of them. So if we want to go jump in and just do a little more analysis on Chris Kirk, he does gain on Bermuda very slightly, but he does. The putter has been working over the last 10 events. Just wanted to see, really gained at the Valero. I was trying to see his last time he's had that kind of gain. So what was he gained 6 strokes putting? When's the last time you ever gained 6 strokes putting? There's 4. I mean, it was a long time ago. So 7 back at the Wyndham, which I always got to remember. Yep, is Bermuda. And technically, some people said that could be a comparable course, Sedgefield, but I don't agree. I think from some specifics, like Bermuda, length and stuff like that, but as in difficulty, I think Wyndham plays quite a bit easier. Okay. Arnold Palmer, he had an 8th recently, which we already kind of saw. What about the Honda? He had a 25th. The Players, he made the cut. St. Jude, he had a 6th, but that's 2018. Waste Management. Another one of those where, I don't know, when I think of TPC Scottsdale, it's just not that difficult, of course, but there is some water. So like I said, I think it's a decent comparable. I just don't think of it as tough as like Harbor Town or even Copperhead. Tour Championship, long time. But when he did make it back in 2014, he had a 4th. Anyways, I like Chris Kirk. Max Homa, just a little bit of recent forms kind of trailing off. I just think he's just a really good West Coast swing player. I'm not playing Kevin Na. And typically when I don't play Kevin Na, he does well, so you could go with that. Gooch, you can see, on the way up. And, pretty decent showing at the Zurich. Didn't see a lot of those guys. Actually blanking who Gooch was with. Was it Max Homa? I think it was. I think it was Gooch and Homa. They did all right. Keegan Bradley, not a bad play. I would say, he could get plugged in here or there, but not in my, top 15. But, it's been playing better. You see good recent form. Out of the 5 times playing here, he's made the cut twice. It all comes down to the putter, which I don't know why there's not a red bar there, but it's 152. It's like, well, he's like one of the worst in the field right now with the putter. Sam Burns, here you go. So, again, watching some of the Zurich, and again, it's hard to put a lot into that, but I liked what I saw there. And again, it's total different mental, kind of reframe, but he hit the ball well. We don't have the stroking analysis, but, I got to watch quite a bit of him and Horschel. Liked what I saw. Of course, we were all hoping when he got to this, he's from Louisiana, but, has played and always done well on Bermuda, but, just really struggled here. But it was nice to see the RBC. You can see it's starting to get a little better on the ball striking. Still good on approach over the last 12. The putter, could be a great asset here. He's decent around the green, decent around good drives. If we go look up and look at some of the comparables, as I mentioned, gains over a half stroke with the putter on Bermuda typically. But you can see that's really what, amazing enough, got off POA and then got on Bermuda and was losing strokes. So figure that one out. We go look at Arnold Palmer. Not bad. Nothing great. I mean, missed the cut recently. RBC, we already mentioned he had a 39th. Honda, 64th and a 72nd. Not so great at that track. That PGA National. Players he missed a cut recently. St. Jude. It's a miscut a long time ago. Waste Management. He had a 22nd at Waste Management. And I don't know if he's ever made the Tour Championship now. So I'm going to be honest with you. With Burns, I'm going on. I think we're seeing a little resurgence with him. It's Bermuda. I think his game could be, and honestly, I think I was between Glover and Burns, and I ended up going with Burns. Now, Glover could be a really good play too. You have to make your own decision there. He's been playing. You can see his stroke gain analysis going up. Not the greatest here from the past, but he's had a pretty solid track record at this course. So, better than Sam Burns. So there's things that point to say Lucas Glover could do very well here. I just kind of going a little off the tangent and going with what the gut tells me. And I think that's, oh, nope. Got one left that I wanted to talk about. And then the rest I will do my value plays tomorrow. So the last guy I'm looking at is Lanto Griffin. Again, striking the ball well. It's dipped a little bit here recently. But, everything here I like to see. Around the greens not as good. But for the price tag, I like it. And I'm sticking with Lanto, the Tringali and Lanto pairing. Bermuda, he's positive on. He get really hot with the putter. Fell off a bit here at the Valero. Trying to see the last time the Genesis, which is funny, that's on POA. Putter well there, doesn't play. Let's go take a look at, did he play RBC? Not recently. That was the previous. Arnold Palmer, he had a 21st. The Honda. Only played that once and missed the cut. What did he do at the Players? He had a 35th at the Players. That's not bad. St. Jude, played it once. That was a miscut. What about the Waste Management? He didn't play it recently, but miscut previously. And then a Tour Championship, he had an 18th. That was the most recent one. So not bad. Top of the top 50% of the class that played in that. That's it. That's my analysis. I hope that helps with some thoughts. Let's go summarize this on where I think these guys fit in. I gave you the 15. Let's go summarize it. Okay, so my top 5 picks, you got a good understanding of the player pool. Now, where am I ranking them? So these are the guys that I think, will finish top 10, could win the tournament. My number 1 is Patrick Reed. Of course, you got Kokrak, great course history, been putting well, been playing amazing. This could be his chance to win another tournament. You got Paul Casey, where I don't think he'll win, but I think he is going to be up there in the top 10, maybe top 5. You got Connors, who's been playing great. If he keeps the putter up, also very good chance he could win. And then the actual guy who I think is going to win, I'm going to state it again, could look like a moron. Maybe he'll miss the cut, but I don't know why. I'm all over Louis. And of course, if he doesn't do anything this tournament, just play him the next one, because I'm making all the statements, and usually I'm about one tournament ahead of time. My next 5, Abraham Ancer could get his first win. Just we need the short game to keep on trucking. Joaquin Niemann, same thing around the green. You got Sunjay M. We need the irons to, we've seen some recent form, but we don't want master irons. We want the RBC Heritage irons. Charlie Hoffman, just keep on doing what you're doing. And Russ Henley, keep the T-ball in play. Awesome elite with the irons. And just do what you typically do with the putter on Bermuda, and we'll be all set. My last 5, Chris Kirk, just been playing great. Hopefully that just keeps on trucking. Got Tringali also doing well. We got Griffith. We got Grillo, where this is probably a little risky one, because I've just seen Emiliano Grillo where he'll just show, and then all of a sudden you won't see him again. But he's always been really good tee to green. It's just that putter stays where it's at. Again, I put him right there with the Corey Connors crew. He could definitely pull one out. And last but not least, a little bit of a flyer. See a little bit of light, and I'm hoping that we were all just maybe a little early on the Burns, and hope that he can do it here. Okay, that's it. That is my Money Pick show. I hope that helps you with your betting. I didn't go into pulling up the betting odds. You know what? I can real quickly tell you who I've got for bets. Let's do that. Okay, so from a betting perspective, I will tell you what I've already bet. I'll probably throw a few more in, but these are the ones I've already, I get them in early just because, you know, if it's my show, but not so much me, but probably like Pat Mayo or some of those guys. As soon as they start picking some guys, you can just watch the odds can start to dip. But I got Abraham Answer 30-1, Charlie Hoffman 45-1. I like. Took a big flyer on Henrik Stenson. Just, you know, he showed a hint of life over the last couple tournaments. Well, a little bit deserved. We got to watch the irons looked a lot better, and also did okay at the Masters, and it was 200-1. So I'm like, you know what? Throw a few bucks on that. I mentioned Sam Burns. You know, could be super sneaky. He's 90-1, so I put a bet on that. Of course, Kokrak 40-1. I liked. And then I've already told you I'm all in on Louis Oosthuizen. He's 35-1. Funny enough, that's the least odd. Well, Abraham Anser, I guess, is 30-1. That's the bets I got in right now. Will I do a few more? Maybe. But just to give you guys an understanding of who I like from a betting perspective. And then from a one and done, if you've not used, trying to think, I mean, of course, Paul Casey, you know, it's kind of a no-brainer if you've not used him. I think Patrick Reed would be a great play here for one and done. Trying to think who else off the top of my head. Louis Oosthuizen, if you haven't used him, this could be your time. Anyways, I think that's about it for the show. I appreciate it. I will put out a my value plays. We'll put out ownership projections, all that kind of fun stuff. Whether if there's anything to talk about there, anything I see that I think you guys need to know before you make your final picks, I will get that out Wednesday. So I will talk to you guys later. All the best, and all the best of luck to us.